day of Ixalan with Approach. Um, this is post Worlds, so the Peach Garden Oath sideboard plan with Torrential Gearhulks and 5 counter spells and a glimmer and stuff is live now. And I expect that means that our teamer matches are no longer going to be good. I actually don't know how to fix those matches, so I want to get a few reps in with the current build because I was pretty happy with this build prior to Worlds and see how we need to fix it. Possible changes that I'm considering are adding a 4 for Rivulet if the blue-black deck is more popular, or turns out to be very popular, rather. A couple Filter Rune and another Azcanta in the sideboard, but I don't have a clue how I want to fix the teamer match with the new sideboard plan. With their new sideboard plan, rather. But we're going to jump into the games and see how a couple play out. Should be kind of interesting. There's also an argument that we need 1 hours of devastation in our sideboard now because the tokens decks have really picked up a lot of steam on the online meta. I'm thinking that it's potentially correct just to cut the authority of the councils now and like maybe not worry so much about the mono red match. The mono red match is still relevant, but like I think even with the 8 sideboard cards, we're probably just 50-50, so we need to find a more reliable way to beat them. Something I've considered is an Ixalan's Binding, but supposedly Ixalan's Binding's bugged on Moto right now, so like we can't even test that card. Anyway, we're going to jump into today's matches. And again, I want to apologize to everybody for us being on this very weird schedule right now. I am a League of Legends fanatic, and it's Worlds time, and it's really throwing off my free time schedule. Like, midnight my time to about 6 to 7 a.m. my times when Worlds is going to be happening this week. So I'm trying to get myself on a schedule where I'd be streaming post Worlds. This hand's clearly very, very, very slow, but like most decks in this format are kind of slow. We already have a bunch of lands and we can cycle a cast out. So I think this hand's a keep, but it is like, it's probably on the bottom of range of hands that I would keep. And if I was on the draw, I would not even consider keeping it. It would be an easy mulligan. It turns out it wasn't that bad, probably. He's probably either a token deck or a mirror deck. So, that being said, if he's either of those things, it's not really that bad. It'll take one more draw step before we decide what we're going to do with these cast outs. He could still be Jeskai, or he could still be Esper tokens. Alright, well he showed us the Rivulet now, so we're easily going to cycle at least one cast out. Probably won't get rid of them all, though, for the simple fact that Search for Azcanta is a very powerful card. Probably not keeping very many cards here that aren't like just Approach or Azcanta. Maybe another card draw spell, but this mirror match game 1 is very, very, very clunky. It's typically whoever gets to approach first just wins. We don't typically have a lot of hard counter spells, and some of the other builds do have hard counter spells, which puts us at a disadvantage. Looks like they have Esper colors as well, so we're probably at a pretty serious disadvantage then. Untapping Azcanta would just make us like throw our hands in the air and wave them like we just don't care. We'll put both of these on top, I think. Azcanta's fairly broken, and the Rivulet gives us some way to get past a opposing approach. It's a pretty terrible way, mind you, but it is a non-zero factor. we can actually Supreme Will a counterspell here while paying for a Duty Dooter. Like I said, Duty Dooter. Doobie doobie doo. Dooter. We're gonna start with this. He could have a cast out in response or something to this, but we could just cast out it on our opposing turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can flip the search for Azcanta no matter what if we just go ahead and dump that. Providing he doesn't have a cast out. If he has a cast out, you know, we're kind of SOL, but whatever. Yeah. We'll put pretty much any card in our graveyard right now that's not exactly like, not exactly approach. That's unfortunate. So we missed on the first. We missed on the first approach, which was pretty detrimental. Because now, anytime that we want to cast our first approach, we have to tap 7 mana. Yeah. We would also keep a Gideon from here. It's kind of interesting what to play now. I guess we just go with this and we'll start looking for a Gideon. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's fine to put that one on top. We have double counterspell for the following turn. So we know his thing is going to be 6 cards down after his draw step. Start by looking to see what we get here. 2 settled wreckages. Well, we don't want either of those. Alright, so Glimmer. So we went top and top and top, so that's 2 more cards down. Alright, well, I guess this is the lot we live in life now. We're at a spot now where if opponent has a Spell Pierce, we probably just lose. If he has a Negate, we just lose. If he has a land and a Censor, we just lose. But it wasn't getting better, right? Like the thing is, it just doesn't get better in those spots. Like, we could have waited one more turn, and then he could add Supreme Will, and just so on and so forth. Could have left Rivulet up so that he didn't draw it. That was actually a small mistake. He wouldn't even been able to use this Supreme Will had I not punted. So that was a small mistake. It was actually a pretty large mistake. Not leaving Rivulet up there was bad. I wouldn't have used a Rivulet, but like, because he could have just had one in his hand, but he may have been afraid. So if he has an untapped land and a Censor or a Negate, we're just got. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can flip the thing next turn. Guess we'll just pass then. We're still confined to Gideon and be pretty far ahead right here. Like he has to deal with the Gideon if we do. So now he can flip his search for Azcanta, and this game gets super wonky. It's kind of a cool main deck addition. It has 4 free mana. Sure. So he's milling one of our approaches. Except he doesn't remember where it is, apparently. Okay. There's the approach. So we have a Gideon here, which is pretty nice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So we don't actually have enough mana just to go for it. He can have 2 counter spells. Still gonna go for it. See what happens. Well, so there's disallows in his main deck. He has negates in his main deck too, we just lose. But we're not going to beat a player who has negates and disallows in his main deck at either, so still just better to go for it, because he clearly is going to have some kind of kill conditions for the Gideon anyway, so we're not going to be able to like really win that war. Anyway, so post-board plans versus the blue-black build. They could have a variety of different threats, which is kind of problematic, but overall, I believe all the blue cards come in. In the older builds of this deck, we would also bring in the Regal Caracols, but I believe because of the power of Search for Azcanta, that matches are able to be won now a lot easier without the Regal Caracols. So, how I've been sideboarding is I've just been cutting all of the white cards for the most part. Sometimes it's good to keep a couple of Fumigates in to keep them honest, but these cards kind of keep them honest as well. The Settle the Wreckages are bad as well, like the Fumigates and the Caracols are both slightly better than them. I tend to go with the Fumigates in the draw and the Regal Caracols on the play because one's easier to pressure life total, but it's mainly because we don't have more additional good cards in our sideboard for the match, which is one of the reasons now that Blue-Black's more popular. I've mentioned that I probably need a third Azcanta in my sideboard. Not having Field of Runes in the main deck is pretty poor too. So, anybody that's in chat, how are you all doing tonight? Alright, well, this hand's a pretty easy mulligan. She forgot to post that I was going live. This hand is kind of weird. Always forget something every time that I stream. Anyway, so this hand's kind of weird. I think it's also a mulligan, but we're probably not going to win. Probably not going to win mulliganing to 5 in a match that card quantity matters almost as much as card quality. Day 9. Sorry, I'm just updating Twitter because I forgot to put it. We'll keep this hand. We'll snap keep a land. Got a bunch of Twitters to read. Hey James, what are you into? Oh really? Yeah, the desert packages are really really interesting. Make really interesting gameplay in the control-ish decks. That's kind of cool though. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry about being a little bit quiet there. I was updating Twitter because for some reason I forgot to post I was going live. I literally forget to do one thing every single day I stream. One thing. It's not always the same thing, but there's always a minimum of one thing that I forget every single time I stream. So Search for Azcanta on 2 on the play is roughly unbeatable unless their hands are extremely terrible. Wake up, BB. Welcome to the chat. Search for Azcanta is so good. I can't even cycle a... I couldn't even cycle a cast out if I hit it now. We do have double approach though, so if we're the first person to land an approach, that's exceptionally good. He showed us Enchantment Destruction main deck, so like even if we do get the cast out, it's not a forlorn conclusion that it can handle the search. I guess we'll take the land. The negate would be nice, but if we don't get the 7 lands, we're not going to win either way. He left on top of Azcanta too, which was a little dicey. If we knew we were going to roll lands off the top, we would have kept the negate, of course. Wow, he put a disallow in his graveyard. That means he could be gear hulking. Which is pretty sick. Go ahead and Glimmer during his upkeep. Maybe he'll counterspell it. It's got Gonti too. Wow. Sure. So hopefully he doesn't have something to stop the cast out then. If he does, we're in pretty bad shape. So it's a second counterspell, but he paused a little bit on that one, so he might be running a little bit out. So our best chance is just to raw dog a land off the top here and hope it's good enough. Which is probably not, but like that seems like our best chance. Especially when he has this. Bottom top. Didn't hit the land. Put one on top, one on the bottom. Could have put the Rivulet on top, but we're honestly just not playing that game this game. We're playing the Hope Gideon Resolves and is enough plan. I don't think it will be. Like I said, I already think he has a Torrential Gearhulk in his hand because of how he played. So he put a negate in his graveyard as well, and a disallow. He's either completely loaded with counterspells, or he truly does have the Torrential Gearhulk. Not exactly sure which, but he's put 2 counterspells in his graveyard, which blows my mind why you would do. Like, literally just has to have everything if he's making those plays. Sure. I'm going to play this land this turn instead of saving it to cycle, because if we top deck a negate, we can play an approach and a negate on the following turn. Tap 4 mana again? Wonder what this 4's for. Oh, main deck Vraska? Sure. Or not main deck Vraska, but just Vraska in general. So we really need to find a sensor here and hope it's enough. Because quite frankly, with him having an Azcanta over there, we don't really get that many better opportunities. See what he reveals. Bottom. Alright, well, we have a negate, so you're saying there's a chance. And he found an approach. This has like double negate. He can't really play his approach though. There's a Torrential Gearhulk that we thought he had. And he did have double hard counterspell, so that's kind of bad for us. It's not completely over though. Like, he may not have another hard counterspell for a while, and could have waited and looked for a land, I guess, but I don't really like that either. Let's search for Azcanta, the card we want the most. That's the card we want the most now. It's just an approach. I do play 4 though. A lot of builds play 3, some play even 2. We play 4. Alright, well, I guess we have a chance next turn. It's kind of nice that we get to go for it one more time before the game's over. Opponent got a Glimmer. He just may not cast an approach any of these games. It's kind of interesting that he didn't even use the Glimmer when he had mana left open. So we know 2 of the cards in his hand are Glimmer and Approach. Yeah, so he's tapped 4 mana. Kind of suck if it's a commit, right? So we have to let that resolve because he could just use a Janto and still have 4 mana open. We need him to use as much mana as we can here. Yeah, did we win? You did put on bottom top, so I doubt we won, but... Oh, wow. That's unfortunate. There's only 1 cast out even left in our deck. We're fighting a good fight, though. I don't think we win a game where we just try to beat them on the board from here. So I think we just go for pure luck value. Maybe we hit a Fumigate. And get this stall a few more turns or something. So they had another negate. Opponent did cast 8 counterspells this game, so We certainly deserve to lose. I feel like we're in pretty good shape if we just drawn even 2 random cards. So he showed Essence Scatter. He still has Essence Scatters in his deck. Might be a reason for us to take Torrential Gearhulks out of our sideboard then. I really don't think so though, because I don't think we have any better cards really to bring in over to Gearhulks. Yeah, so we'll just run it back. What is this? Yeah, so we'll play first. It's another miserable hand, but I think we'll keep it. I'm actually going to cycle to cast out and hold the Censor because Censor can get a turn to Alskanta. And a Plains would let us play a Glacial Fortress untapped if we did happen to draw it. But this isn't a particularly great hand. We already have this in our hand, which we don't really want. We really want most of our opening hands to have about 3 lands, or like 1 Opt or Ascanta, or a counter spell. So like any of our spells that basically cost 3 or less, except for the exact 2 that we have. There's a chance that this gets to come down at a beneficial turn though, and maybe do a little work early in the game. There's also a chance that our opponent just doesn't come back. Oh, apparently it was me. It was an opponent. Interesting. Is my internet out? No. Web pages are still working, so it's just Magic Online? Alright, so it's Magic Online then. Alright, so it's not me at least. Not just me at least. Thank you for the information, Tix, and welcome to the chat. Glad to know that it's not just me. Let's go check out Twitter then. I apologize. I'm opening. Oh, you're still in MTGO. Interesting. If you DC like that, at least they will reimburse you. I'm checking out a stream or two to see if anybody else is having problems or if it's just like a few of us. So I apologize right now if it's like tabbing in and out and being really weird. Autumn Lily's still in, and Jim Davis is AFK. Huh. So it doesn't seem like it's everybody. It seems like it's just some people. Alright, well, we're going to try to keep getting back in here for a little while. And have to see what happens. Hopefully it'll work. Would suck if this ruined a stream. Wonder why it's just some people, not everybody. Please verify that you are connected to the internet and try again. Well, I am connected to the internet, friends. Guess I'll close it completely and reload it from the beginning. It won't even close. Like it doesn't. It really doesn't recognize me being online. Wow. It won't even close. There you go. Ignore my messy desktop. That's mostly decks that we've streamed with that I have not cleaned up. Something that I need to do. Well, am I about to start streaming Eternal? Oh, it's back. It's back, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Woo! Oh, try restarting your Moto from the very start, Tix. It seemed to work for me. Still seems like it's being laggy, though. Like, I usually load directly back into a game without lag at all. I've never saw this over here like this ever. Now MTGO is apparently playing laggy. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm still not able to play. Did you see that lag? Wow. So here's kind of an interesting dilemma. Do I play this hoping to play a Jace, or do I just hold up Counterspell for Search for Azcanta? I think Search for Azcanta is so powerful that I have to hold up the mana for it. On a positive note, if we time out now, I will file for comp. And they're extremely good about giving comp for things like that. And 3 leagues are the best leagues. Obviously, we're going to play and try to come to an actual conclusion, but just saying that's a nice little thing. A lot of games, if you just get DC'd like that, they tell you your SOL, Hearthstone, Eternal, stuff like that. They can't really fix that result, but at least Magic Online, where there's entries and stuff like that, they're exceptionally good about it. So for all of their faults, they do have quite a few pluses in the category as well. Just gonna slam this. He's not showed us black mana yet. Might even fight for it with this Jace's defeat. I'm not sure. I think it's actually powerful enough to fight for. I guess a must answer threat for him. There's some percentage chance that it can win the game. He needs. He's not showed us a cast out in either of the 2 previous games, so there's a good chance that he needs double black to kill it. And if he had a black mana, he would have probably already put it in play. Oh, wow. That's extremely awkward. Like, we want both of those cards. We need both of those cards, but we also need lands. So we're just going to put them on bottom. Just getting a land right here is more important than either of those things. And then we're going to start pumping up the volume and pumping up the jam with that guy. Hopefully we find us an untapped land and can just slam 4 mana. Oh, main phase Glimmer. That's nice. Hopefully we can just find us an untapped land and slam an approach. So he put it on top bottom. Okay, I was going to say, he wasn't playing that land awfully fast. That, my friends, is not the land that we were looking for. We don't have any double blue spells, so... We know we're keeping the land. I don't think we're keeping the Glimmer since we already have double approach in our hand. And we're very likely just casting approach next turn. Or over the next 2 turns, rather. It's like not 100% that we are, but it's like a fairly reasonable percent that we are. Alright, it's going. So we're currently just looking for like a negate or something. I think there's some chance that he has Gideons of his own, so I probably shouldn't cycle this, but we're certainly going to. So he has currently 7 mana. I think it's too easy for him to have a counterspell. Is it bad that I want to use my Gideon just so I can cast Farm on it? I don't actually think Farm's great in this match, but they do have Gaunties and stuff that we can use it on. So we know our other approach is 6 cards down. Ideally, we want to play this in a manner that we can like get an approach on 1 turn, and then play the approach on the next turn as well. So now we know it's 5 cards down. We also want to do it on a turn that somewhat taxes his mana. Four. Could just be a Vraska. Well, that sucks. We're in pretty bad shape this game. Because he's going to get to flip this Azcanta now. We've already gone through 3 cast outs. It's going to be absurdly hard for us to win. I don't like this card in this match. Somebody else had once mentioned that the card was fine. I believe it was Jim Davis who said it was fine in this match, but I literally just think it is not very good at all. They say you're usually able to discard the hand size and stuff, which I just do not find to be the case whatsoever. But this is also why I need a 3rd Azcanta and why I need some Field of Runes in my deck. Well, that could potentially work out for us. It's kind of interesting that he'd make that play. I think just using Azcanta is probably better. But he could just have a million counterspells. Like, he has 8 cards in hand, so. I'm going to put this in the graveyard, whether it resolves or not. I'm not really concerned with. getting the market end of it is something I'm concerned enough with to do that for. I think we'll get rid of a land and probably the fumigate. So I guess we try to cast this, but he'll have a counter spell, so. There's some percentage chance that he doesn't, but like that percentage chance is next to none. Yeah, like I said, next to none. Alright, I guess we'll put that on top. Just don't think this is winnable at this point. We're on like a 6-turn clock, and he could have more things, but like he just has a million counter spells in his deck, and he flipped Azcantas both game 2 and 3. We flipped it game 1. What can you do? Well, the fact that he's doing this means if we draw a negate, we have a chance. Alright, never mind. He's taking it back. That chance is gone. So you got to disallow. Alright. I guess we'll main phase play this. I guess we'll put both of these on top since we're really just kind of trying to stall the game, really. So I guess he's looking for a counterspell, which is fine. He found a Supreme Will. Supreme Will doesn't really work here, though. I'm gonna go ahead and counterspell this, because if he counterspells it back, we can draw a negate and win. If he doesn't counterspell it back, we've gained a lot of extra time. So he's got another hard counterspell, which is fine. That's 2 of our approaches going forever. It's like main phase casting something now. His own approach. So he could have like double hard counterspell again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so alright, opponent just didn't have anything. If he had a counterspell there, we were going to have to make a decision, and the decision was going to be whether we were going to farm lands and look for our own counterspell, or whether we were going to hold up the Rivulet for his turn, to try to make him not draw that approach again. He's gone through more than 30 cards in his deck. I just assumed that he has a second approach in his hand, so I probably would have went for the counterspell, and we wouldn't have hit, but that's fine. A lot of these mirror matches just really come down to playing naked approaches and hoping, which is really, really unfortunate. We could make alterations to our deck to make it less luck based, but there's really not enough mirrors out there at the moment to make those drastic changes, I don't think. And we have a 51 match sample size since Ixalan with this deck, and we've only played versus other approach decks 6 times, and we've won all 6 without those cards. So, like, we're obviously running pretty hot, but, like, 6 out of 50s, like, 51 is, like, not a big percentage of the field. Like, I don't really want to make, like, my mono red match weaker to make my approach match better, you know, when I've played versus mono red twice that many times. I think this hand's good. I have a lot of our early interaction spells. These are the type of spells you want versus Teamer and you want versus mono red. Like, they're not the type of spells you want versus tokens or you want versus blue black. But that's one of the many problems of this deck is like your early turns can be a bit awkward because your hand can be drawn in like so many different manners, and it's another islandish deck. Not going to cycle the cast out until we actually figure out whether he's a blue-black deck or whether he's an approach deck. If he's an approach deck, we're going to snap cycle the cast out. If he's a blue-black deck, you don't get rid of the cast out because you have to get rid of Scarab God. He could also be Esper Tokens with that opening. I think they run an island. But it's probably just another approach deck based on what we see. If he cycles a Censor or something this turn, we'll know for sure what it is. Yeah, okay, so it's another approach deck. Our hand's obviously terrible versus an approach deck. So we'll start recycling this. Actually cycle this as well then. So opponent pressed F6 there. It felt like. The Glimmer's good enough that I kind of want to try to resolve it, and like... Alright, well, we need to draw lands. That is a land, so... Pretty happy with that. Still have so many dead cards in our hand. Like, so many dead cards in our hand still. Land? One time? Not a land. Yeah, so when he counterspells this, we potentially just lose. Oh, he didn't counterspell it. I think Opt is better than just a Blind Scry, so we'll go ahead and slam it. Up to 26 viewers this Tuesday morning. Hope you're all doing well. The opponent seems like he's a little mana screwed as well. God, how many of our opponents are going to hit approach before us tonight? Alright. Stop drawing approach opponents. Unfortunately, we have to have the land to even play our Azcanta. Or sorry, to play our approach. Have Azcanta on the brain because it's the best card in these matches. Speaking of which, it's the best card in these matches, but is it better than casting the first approach? Probably not. Because casting the first approach means he can't really untap and play his own approach without taking a risk. Like our hand's just like mono dead spells, but like this deck is practically mono dead spells. Oh, that was kind of a good one. Alright, so we'll start with this. So we know our Azcans has 6 cards down. Meant to tap it here. Sorry. Alright. Well, opponent used one of his counter spells there. So he can flip Azcanta no matter what this turn, and he's the first person to get the extra card. So put a Gideon in our graveyard. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Probably not. I don't think we'll put the Gideon in our graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. We'll keep the Gideon in. Transform Azcanta, yes. So now we know it's 5 cards down, and we get to draw it during our next turn. Providing he doesn't waste a Rivulet on it. Say waste, but like it's not a bad play if he has a Rivulet. Pretty sure opponent can just do whatever he wants. So we're gonna go ahead and not even bluff a counter spell. If we find a cycling spell, we can put the approach in our hand. Well, we didn't find a cycling spell. So he knows we have this. We know he has whatever he's about to show us. Another cast out. Or, sorry, not another cast out. Cast out. Well, I guess it is another. It's the third one. A lot of these decks only even play 3, so that's a rather large number of them to have hit. Sure. He knew we were drawing approach this turn, and he chose not to counterspell it, or not to get rid of it with a Rivulet. So he probably has some kind of counterspell. So I think we're just going to cast Glimmer. And I'm not going to keep anything but probably Lands of Disglimmer, maybe our own cast out. Certainly not keeping a Fumigate. We'll keep the land. Alright, so we both know about those. And next turn we're just going to slam an approach. We have double approach now, so we don't care if the first one gets counterspelled. He has Disallows in his main deck. Disallows are pretty terrible versus the field. They're obviously very good in the mirror. Pretty obviously very good in the mirror. They're pretty bad versus the field. It's okay if it's a one of, but like, it's still not great. Literally just going to play approaches for 3 turns, I think. Wouldn't mind a draw land. That's not a land. So now if he has a Supreme Will, he can even counterspell it. Which is super unfortunate. Could have tapped my mana better, but I wouldn't be cycling a cast out from here anyway, so I guess it's fine. Really needed to draw that land. Us not hitting lands even though we're like 28 cards deep in our deck is pretty brutal. Opponents hit more than 3 more lands than us. It's like 4 more and he'd drawn less cards. kind of a tilt. Alright, so we can't be Supreme Willed now. So that's probably a good enough reason for me just to do this. Sure. So we'll look for lands now. Since we have like a million dead cards in our hand. If he's got multiple disallows, we're in a bad spot. There's a Censor, he'll very likely cycle it. He's playing a Glimmer? Let's so use this. To see what he finds. So I'm just casting Approach next turn, even if he has it. Alright. Well, if he's got Negate, he beat us. Unless we draw Supreme Will. No Negate. Alright. So we got game one. Just because we draw triple Approach. We play 4 approaches though. Again, like a lot of approach decks just play 3. This is one of the many reasons that you do play 4. Like, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the many reasons that you do play 4. So we bring in our 7... sorry. We bring in our 7 blue spells. And our deck looks a little bit like this post-board. We would like another Azcanta in the sideboard. I'm thinking about removing an authority for it, but actually I'd like one in the main deck. I think it's reasonable just to cut ops from the deck. Or maybe shave on one of the 3 mana, probably shave on like 1 farming market, maybe even shave on 1 settle, but I've tried to set myself up to beat the Temur decks and the Sultai decks post the PGO sideboard plan. I don't actually know how to beat the PGO sideboard plan, so like that's a different animal altogether. I believe we keep this hand. We've got multiple lands, we've got a cast out, we've got a Glimmer. Versus a lot of control decks, we actually take the draw in this match, but you can't take the draw in the mirror because getting the 7 mana first to cast a first approach puts a giant burden on your opponent, like it's extremely relevant. Okay, thank God you didn't have an Azcanta. Happy days, friends, no Azcanta. Alright, we get to play Magic. We'll go ahead and cycle a Censor. That's practically all they're good for. We have enough lands that I don't think I'm going to cycle to cast out. Azcanta's a big enough threat, and Gideon's a relevant threat, and they've probably sideboarded in some number of Torrential Gearhulks on top of all of that. If we relied on lands, if we didn't have like 3 land drops in hand, we'd probably cycle it, or 2 land drops and a draw step rather. Alright, we'll cast a Glimmer here. There's nothing on 5 mana that can play that's super relevant. Like, there's Cat. He could just play a Gideon. We'll keep actually both of these. We're going to have to go to our discard step and probably discard. It's a good chance we just discard the cast out now. I don't know. Maybe we discard the plains. We have 3 turns to find an additional land, and we have another Glimmer in our hand. Come on, feel the noise. Girls, rock you boys. Well, that was a good one. I want to make sure that I used a cast out during his turn. So whatever he put, he left on top. So I just want to go ahead and use this now. So this is a disallow. Disallow and getting. Oh wow. So that was 2 back-to-back turns that pretty crush us. It's going to be very hard for us to win now. Those are 2 of the most important cards in the match. And we've not hit any of our counter spells other than the Supreme Will, and we hit it way too late. He should not be attacking with that. I could have Settled Wreckage in my deck still. You don't want to use a counter spell on a Settled Wreckage, and you want to get its power high enough that a Torrential Gearhulk couldn't potentially kill it. And the odds of actually winning by damage are so minuscule that it's just not worth taking the risk. So he's got a Gearhulk too. Alright. So we're in pretty bad shape now. Actually, still just want to resolve the first one of these. It's a decent life buffer, and it gives us the ability to play on his turn more than our turn. That negate was just beautiful. So he can flip Azcanta now by just dogging whatever card that is. If he has a bunch of counter spells, it's over. I think Field of Runes is much better than Scavenging Grounds, and I don't think you can afford to play both. So we don't really have enough mana for anything. So I guess we'll just do this. And do the go big or go home plan. Alright, so that's potential of something. It's a lot of approaches. But it's not a lot of cast outs. And we didn't hit a land, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to play this one. And be very sad that we didn't get a land. We're really looking for a land there. Have it all. Actually, probably win that game if we hit the land on that turn. That's a bit of a tilt. Alright, well, if he's going to be attacking with his Gideons, we're bringing the Settled Wreckages in. I put lands on the bottom with the Supreme Will, but we also had to have the negate, right? The second land doesn't do anything if we don't have the negate. So we had to hit a land with the draw step to have double counterspell with the Fumigate. Because we just didn't have the second counterspell if we didn't keep the land. And there's more lands than negates in the deck, so it's a higher probability to keep negate and hit the land than to keep a land and hit a negate. But yeah, I definitely put 2 lands on bottom. Put more than 2 lands on bottom. We cast Glimmer that turn as well. We play Glimmer and Approach. Sorry, Glimmer and Supreme Will. No, we put exactly 2 lands. We put Approach, like Censor, land. Yeah. So we put 2 lands on the bottom. And then missed with the next 5, but like I said, it's a little unfortunate, but it's not that big of a deal. These mirror matches are very swingy. They're just exceptionally swingy. It's generally the first person to ask Kanto wins. Our deck isn't set up for the mirror. Mirrors haven't been that relevant. I'm not actually sure why we got paired versus 2 mirrors today. Just complete variance, because like this deck got worse over Worlds. This deck does not beat PGO Teamer. This deck might have been the best deck in the format prior to Worlds, but like it's probably not playable now. Like when the Teamer decks figured out how to beat this, it probably made this not playable. Sure. By the way, welcome, Blue Sky. I don't think I saw you before. I'd like to hit some blue lands. Probably will cycle to Supreme Will because of that. Hey, Dumbo. What's up, man? This is like literally every card I want, right? And a blue land. What's in your BAMP version that lets you beat like Gear Hulks and 1,000 counterspells? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking because I want to know. Kind of feel like I need to take the negate. That's fine. We'll take the negate. It's too powerful not to take. Sifting Worm? Is that the 7/7? Card. Sifting Worm. Yeah, I don't actually know what that card is. I think it's fine to go ahead and cast this. If he wants to counterspell when he's already mulliganed, like I don't feel like that's bad for me. Oh, am I blind? No. Okay, I'm not blind. I did read it right. 7/7 is pretty nice. It's kind of interesting. I guess he can have that. I would certainly cast that card. Spring to Mind's really nice as well. Kind of telegraphed what we drew over the last 2 turns, but... So he's cycling a cast out. Kind of would like him to use a Supreme Will or something, and we'd Glimmer or Torrential Gearhulk, but didn't get that lucky. I think we'll probably cycle 1 cast out now. don't want to play that this turn because we don't have Counterspell mana up. Oh, hello. Hello, best friend. How are you today? This feels like something we're going to have a Counterspell war over. What's that? Won't let me hover it and read it. This feels like something we're going to have a Counterspell war over. So we're going to use Jace's Defeat. Holding the gate because he could draw a second approach. It's kind of interesting. He might like untap and cast out our Search for Azcanta, and then we have to like cast out his Search for Azcanta. Yeah, you do. It's also potential that like maybe Shelf It Monitor might potentially be better than Glimmer. I don't know that it is, but like there's some argument that it could be. The getting of the Trials into the graveyard, probably not. At least make him answer it. That way he can't just untap and cast Approach and win. Got a pretty nice setup here. Have a cast out that we can like get a getting into the Trials back with too. Yeah, so don't know what he's targeting. Sure. I believe this is good enough to negate. What do we want to do to search? Put a cast out in our graveyard. Well, that's kind of interesting. So putting a cast out in the graveyard flips the Azcanta, but it gets rid of it gets rid of a cast out. Huh. We only get to play one spell this turn if we keep the cast out as well. I don't think I want to put it in my graveyard. I think it's too strong. Like, if we get enough cast outs, our opponent can't win, right? He's already ditched one of his. He might not have the full 4. And as long as we have access to a cast out, he can't beat us with a search. Probably dumping all other cards, I think. Irrigated Farmland's definitely going to the graveyard. Rivulet, you will not deal damage to us. What do we got going on here? So now he has a Gearhulk. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to run at least 2 copies pretty badly. I think Field of Rune's pretty good. If there's going to be a lot of Azcanta mirrors, then Field of Rune's absolutely insanely good. I don't know how many of those mirrors there's going to be is the problem. It all depends on how popular blue-black is and how popular this match is. I've not put them in my deck yet because, like, I don't know how to make the mana work. We have double blue spells, we have double white spells, and like the mana's a little awkward already. So like just having more copies makes it seem like it's going to be even more awkward. I mean, that seems like that's fine. I don't really feel like I care about that card. Really just need to start hitting land drops. We wouldn't mind to have like 14 land in play right now. Especially when he has double desert though, which is kind of a problem. Yes, you can shuffle. You can't use it without shuffling away approach, but when you get to the point of the game where you're worried about shuffling away an approach, you probably don't need to use it. Start with this thing to get information for our Azcanta. I guess we'll take a Gearhulk and a land, sure. A negate and an approach, you say. So our opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, we'll take the approach. Hey, Z-Canner, thank you for the host, man. Appreciate it. So we know approach is 6 cards down, and we know that he can mill our first approach away. There's like nothing we can do to stop him from milling the first approach whenever he wants it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could have a cast out still, so I don't think we're going to attack. So he's going to Glimmer. Sure. We're going to do this now. Put the approach in our hand. Just want to get that in our hand pretty easily. So opponent's using a cast out here. We have negates in our graveyard, so I believe we're just going to cast a Torrential Gearhulk. He doesn't have enough mana to continue to cast our approach, so... And if he counterspells this, we just get more mana. For our next turn play, with an approach with the Supreme Will backup. Well, so that's a negate. We can probably just win by attacking now. Or we can go for the win. So let's count the mana here. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can pay for a Spell Pierce. Ooh, that's the wrong thing. Sure. We can pay for a Spell Pierce. Yeah, well, we beat another Approach Mirror. The big key to us beating both these Approach Mirrors is we won the dice roll both games or matches. It's much easier to win on the play than to draw in the Approach Mirror, even when they do have all the extra counter spells and stuff. I do like Field of Rune though. I really want 2 Field of Runes, potentially a third in the sideboard, because having 27 lands in like Mirror or 27 lands versus blue black isn't terrible. Do nothing, play a card, win. It is a pretty good deck. By the way, no Scarab God, no party. Fair enough. Scarab God is incredibly powerful, and not only is it powerful or incredibly powerful, it's incredibly fun to play with. So what are we looking at with this hand? We're looking at a couple interactive spells, something that can cycle if we need to, and opt. We have our powerful spells versus the teamer decks. I believe this hand's a keep. This hand seems like it's a pretty easy keep on the draw. Especially if our opponent already mulliganing to 6. We're just going to have to rip off some lands. If they're playing mono red, it can be a little bit iffy, but who knows? Maybe they're not playing mono red. Alright, so they're playing the black aggro deck. That's roughly the same as playing mono red. This is a hard match. We're going to have to hit our lands in this match. We do already have an Effort Meltdown, though, that can shut down a Scrapheap Scrounger if he has it, or like a Cropper or something. We have a Fumigate and a Settle, too, so it casts out for a Hazoret. Heck, we have a Censor for a Hazoret if we need it. We're probably a favorite to win this game as long as we hit lands and an approach at some point. But this match itself is hard, especially hard post-board. They don't really have any 3-drops that are any better than their 2-drops. If this was on turn 4, I would not be casting the Effort Meltdown because a Chandra or Hazoret's like considerably better than what they can do on 3. But like, if they just untap and play Pia, it's not that big of a deal, and like, Pia's one of their best 3s. Cropper post-combat's not really scary. Doing good, Dumbo, doing good. Thanks for asking, Brother Bear. So yeah, we take 1 more damage a turn, but we've prevented 2 damage already, so like, it takes 3 turns before that even turns a profit on that. That's another Cropper. Alright, well, that's a little unfortunate. Alright, so we'll start off with the Opt. That's kind of interesting. We can prevent a lot of life with that, but I don't think that's what we're looking for. Ripperoni. Pepperoni. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get rid of those. We have a backup fumigate for anything that is not a hazard. We have a cast out if it's a hazard. How you doing today, Dumbo? You been golfing much more, man? You even have a sensor to help us find an additional land. Oh wow, opponent just didn't have anything there? That's pretty odd. I guess we'll hold the sensor for another turn. He's just gonna like murder boat us. Oh, he's gonna murder boat his dude to get it back. Sure. That's one way to skin a bobcat. Good lord, we're up to 50 people at 8 a.m. Eastern in the morning. In the morning, brothers and sisters. Hazarini. No haste creature, please. Lightning strike. Nice, nice. Now we've hit the mana for the approach, which is going to give us a nice little life boost. So as long as he doesn't have a second hazard, we feel pretty solid here. As a second hazard, we have some problems. Tasmania, wow. That's kind of impressive. Nice, man. Oh, but by the way, thanks for joining by, Q Samara. Don't think I've saw you around the chat before. It's kind of cool. Also, thank you for following Undead Pop Tart. I would probably eat you. I love Pop Tarts. Pretty good. Thinking of getting Modern Fairies back online and playing it again, but meh. Alright, so he drew best spell, and we are in bad juju. Alright, let's look for a... Well, we're dead if we let him untap, so... Dead anyway, right? I guess we're not dead anyway. He could have nothing, and we could get one more draw step, I guess. Spoiler, we're dead anyway. This kills us. He throws 2 damage to us, does 5, does 2 damage to us. So yeah. Hey, Flame, what's up? Like I said, this is a very hard match. Opponent hit when he needed to hit. We'll go ahead and concede. Won't make him waste the time. Yeah, the second one's pretty brutal. Is good versus... Hey, Spoonkiller PT. I believe we have a favorable match versus blue. We're 1 card away from it. I think we have a favorable match versus the blue black deck. There's blue black decks that we don't have a favorable match versus. Sure, we were. He had Wait, why weren't we dead? We were at 9 life, and he had a hazard, an activation, and an activation. That's 9 damage. What did he do to make us not dead? Wasn't even paying attention. I did not realize we were at 3. We were at 9, and he attacked us. He had a hazard and 2 cards in hand. What happened to get us to go to 3 instead of 2? Were we? Alright, well, I played bad then. We're still dead, right? Even if we draw the cast out, we're still dead. I guess we could have drew an extra card and maybe draw approach. We could have drawn approach off the top. Fair. Fair. We did draw a gain of life off Fumigate. I wasn't paying attention. Good call. So we drew the cast out, and we could have cycled the cast out and found an approach. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Wow. That's pretty terrible of me. Not dead. I mean, we had enough mana that the approach could have gave us the card, and we didn't look. So, yeah, that's a bit of a tilt that I'm that bad. Anyway, in these matches, I sideboard out the blue cards. Just try. Sorry, sideboard out Azcantas, not Ops. Come on, deck. Wow, that was pretty bad. I should pay more attention, especially with now 56 people watching. So that was a winnable game, even though we wasn't favored to win it. It was still winnable and still a mistake. And we'll never know what that card is. It feels real bad just that I don't even know. I would like to know it was an approach for to make me feel good about myself. This is actually not the type of hand that typically wins this match, and he has a Beaumont Courier, which is a card that we almost can't beat. Wow, I hate myself right now. We do have a kitty cat. Meow meow. Kitty cats generally buy a decent amount of time. I think that's good enough that I'm going to throw a meltdown on it. Just to try to gain us some amount of life for like multiple turns to come. So I don't really want to play the settle, or I don't really want to play the settle to wreckage if I don't have to. Especially when they like sideboard in Glorybringers and stuff. There's birds tweeting outside my house. Don't want to settle there, because if they just had Chandra, we're in a bad spot. Pia doesn't put us in a good spot, that's for sure. Big money, untap, and have Fumigate. One time? That's not a Fumigate. That's a Fumigate. Drawn to Farm to Market's kind of nice too, because it stops the first Earthshaker. Wow, he didn't even sack the Fopter, so we gained an extra point of life there. We have a Settle for a Hazard. Doomfall. Alright, so he gets to take either the Settle, the Cat, or the Farm. Probably takes the Settle. Or sorry, probably takes the Cat. Derp. Probably takes the Cat. Wow, he didn't take the Cat. He took the Settle. That's interesting. Gideon was a pretty good draw. So it's just Hazard, which is fine. Wow. Untapped land would be nice here. That's not an untapped land. I guess we'll just attack with this thing. I'm willing to trade this for this. And I want to deal some damage to him. Like, I actively want to deal damage to him, so. He's probably bringing this thing back now. Which means we gain another life. One of these can't block, but the other one can. Hey, what do you think about Esper Token's deck? Do you think it is better than Abzan? I've personally not played it to really know. Do I think it's good for standard? I mean, sure, it's good for standard. I don't think the decks are particularly good, but they're good for standard. We've been playing Abzan on stream. I'm actually going to post a video when we get offline of Abzan on stream. But he could have blocked and prevented damage. It's kind of odd that he didn't. Um, the Esper tokens is probably better than Abzan tokens. Hey George, thanks for stopping by. Also, hello, Mr. Shelzar. Thanks for chatting. We had a nice board style situation like that with the Esper as well, but I think all the builds can have those board styles. So what's this now? Is he just gonna kill this thing maybe? Um, I would not buy Esper tokens right now because um I think Vraska's currently overpriced. I wouldn't want to buy Esper right now with the current price that Abzan is, or not Abzan, but with the current price. Sorry guys, I can't talk. I'm an idiot. With the current price of Scarab God, I would not want to buy a deck that had Scarab God in it. And I think it's fine. I've personally not tried it. It's what I'm probably going to play on stream next time that I log on. Very likely what we're going to play the next time we log on stream. So he's going to kill this and attack this for 2. He still has to spend a lot of time attacking this. At some point we're going to draw something reasonable. Alright. So we just have to draw one of those 4 cards before he deals 41 damage to us and kills a Gideon. That feels like something that's doable. He can kill Gideon this turn, but like that still prevents 6 damage this turn. And by this turn, I mean, you know, during my next upkeep or whatever, but... Oh well, nice. He didn't kill it this turn. That swamp was actually a very good draw. Hey, thanks for the follow, J Crows. I said that swamp was a good draw, and it's certainly a plains in my hand, but it's a good draw either way because now I can rivel it myself. So he gets to kill Gideon now. And then he gets to start having fun. Goodbye, Gideon. You gained us millions of life. Actual millions of life, Gideon. So I made a play mistake. I should have played the plains last turn. Because if I draw a 1-mana cycler this turn, we would have been able to potentially have our draw step. I don't know. No, I guess that's not right. We'll just play another cat, and we know the things on top of our library. Alright, so he mulliganed. He had a pretty good draw. We just happened to have the draw that matched up well. Alright, so going into game 3, do we want to change anything else? We're currently 2-1 versus this deck overall, but like this doesn't feel like a good match. I don't think I want to play Torrential Gearhulk. It's like kind of clunky, especially if we draw it in our opening hand, and they could just have Murder Boat, or they could just have a Braid to kill it. I think it's pretty likely they keep both of those cards in their deck as well. Maybe not the Murder Boat, but Supreme Will's better on the play than the draw, but like it's not really good enough in either. I think we just play this build again and hope that we have Fumigate and they don't have Duress at the right time. Hazard is such a hard card to beat, though. Really need to have the turn 1 authority. Alright, so we don't even have blue mana this game, but the authority is so good that we're going to keep a hand with a turn 1 authority. I actually have an answer to Hazard as well. So we play our turn 1 authority. I actually have a Gideon, a Farm to Lands, and a Sensor too. Like, we have some tools this game. Alright, so opponents had a good draw. I don't know if I'm going there at all, George. Like, it's like an hour and 5 minutes away or whatever. And I don't know if I care enough about playing for an Ixalan box. So he probably has to take the Gideon here. But maybe he takes the Pharma Market. Could even blow my mind to take the cast out. Like, depending on his hand, everything in our hand's a reasonable card to make us discard other than the Censor. I guess the Censor's not even that bad if he had like a 2-drop that he really wanted to play this turn. But Gideon's what I thought was most likely. Oh, that's kind of unfortunate. Alright, so let's start with cycling this. Hey, thanks for the follow. Is a 246? There's no chance for that. There is no chance for that. There's not 10 players in that area that haven't even been there in a year. It takes 10 people from Letcher County that haven't been there in an entire year for that to be the prize. And that's just not something that can happen. There isn't even 10 players. Alright, so we're going to kill this one because it's the one that attacks for the most. Still going to need to draw Fumigate. It's reasonable to take this card as well. People from Cab don't matter. It only counts people from actual Letcher County. He's only counting locals. Like you don't count, for example. It's only locals. He's not even counting people that are like away for college and stuff. Yeah, it does. Alright, well, we're in some bad trouble here. Can Ray go down to 7? He's got 3 deserts in play. He's getting ready to draw 2 cards. Still even has a card in his hand. I don't know what we can draw besides like exactly cat this turn to have a chance. That's not good enough. That's probably not good enough. Should have tapped white. That was a play mistake. I should have tapped white. Yep. We've kind of dug ourselves in a little hole here. What's this? Could be a Glorybringer and us gaining 1 life. If that's true, then we can draw Fumigate on the next turn and have a chance. So we dropped to 6. Glorybringer, so we go to 7. Have 2 draws for Fumigate. Fumigate. What's unfortunate about this is, like, he's going to get his cards off of this. There's nothing I can really do about that. He's got 8 damage in just lands now. Alright, you got us, buddy. Oh, wow. That was a great draw. So, what are our outs now? We can hit, like, land approach? And we have an out. So, land approach. If he has not another direct damage spell, we could also potentially draw a cat. We have some outs here. The problem with Essence Scatter is, like, when you're on the draw and they just resolve their 2-drop, it does 1,000,000 damage to you. Like, if you're on the draw and they just go turn 2 Longtusk Cub. Alright, so what did you draw with your Beaumont, friend? Alright, so we have very few outs now. We have to hit exactly untapped land into approach to keep playing. Well, step 1. Step 2. Nope. Fumigate was a turn slow. Alright. Update our stats. We're now 2-2 versus that deck. And there'll be no trophy today. By the way, if you guys like what you're following today, or like what you're watching today, make sure to follow. And to click the links down below to both my Twitter, where you can follow to see every time we go live, every deck list we play, and my YouTube, where you can find all of our past streams. If you do happen to be watching from the YouTube, keep in mind that in the description of every video, there's a link to my Twitch, my Twitter, and the deck list we're currently playing. And thanks for stopping by, Click. I don't think I've saw you around before. There's just 65 people. There must just be nobody on this morning to watch old boring Sears display. There's actually a few decent players on. Jim's playing, and so is Autumn Lily. Well, you guys just have no taste to watch me. Alright, anyway, so we'll play this game. At the Sears this fam. Alright, so we're on the draw. This hand's reasonable. Meltdown does, okay. Meltdown does feel a little underwhelming, but it's just there isn't a better spell, is unfortunate. Like both Immolating Glare, and that's another mirror probably. That's a bit of a tilt. They're Immolating Glare and Blessed Alliance both rotated, so it's really just, it is what it is. I'm not happy about it. I'm just slamming Azcanta on turn 2. I'm not trying to play around a Censor. Oh, nice. Well, it makes it a lot easier to not play around a Censor. So we did get best card in play. Unless he has Spell Pierce main deck. This is the 3rd mirror today. It is so odd that in our 50 game sample size, we had only played versus 5 mirrors total before today, and we played versus 3 today when this deck got considerably worse after Worlds results. Like, considerably worse after Worlds results. After Meltdown to the graveyard, snap yes, fam. Like, I don't know that this deck's tier 1 anymore. I'm still playing it because it's my signature deck, but, like, I really don't think it's good anymore. I hate to say that. doesn't feel like it belongs now. So he's going to go ahead and cast out. I'll counter a cast out. I'll tap the mana correctly for it, but yes, I'll counter a cast out. Search for Azcanta's best card in the match. I actually still think we beat blue back. I don't think we beat Temur anymore is the big issue. Put the plains in their graveyard? No, we need all of our lands. I think Temur's not beatable when they have the Gearhulk sideboard plan. So he went first, so he has a major advantage this game. We won't put that in our graveyard either. See, I have completely different results. I have problems with the aggro decks, even though I have the full 8-card sideboard plan for aggro, but I demolished the blue decks in my testing. I'm not cycling this cast out, so I'm actually going to put this one Gideon on top. Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to beat J-Bone Capone's build. I was talking about the world's build. Like, most people net deck. They don't build their own deck. I'm not going to beat J-Bone's deck. J-Bone has Glint Siphoner in the side, and, like, we're not going to beat Glint Siphoner. It's a more problematic card than Beaumont Courier for us. And, like, we need to sideboard out our removal spell. But we're going to beat anybody that tries to just kill us with Scarab God and Torrential Gearhulk. Like, those two cards are not going to kill us. It's the Glint Siphoner that's going to kill us. J-Bone's build looks much better than those builds. I don't know about versus the field, but I'm talking about specifically against us. I've not played J-Bone's deck, so like I can't comment how he is versus the field. I can only comment on how he is versus my baby. Alright, so I guess we'll put that in our hand. If he wants to use 2 counterspells to counterspell this turn, that's fine. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to beat J-Bone's deck at all, man. He's just going to crush us. Why is everybody playing Disallow? Did they not realize that Disallow isn't particularly good in this match? Or in this deck at all? You're not a control deck. You're not a true control deck. Hey, 1 for me, 1 rock. What's up, man? Yellow Hat's God. Yes, he is. Like Nassif, for example. Nassif's just better than me. He'd beat me every time we played. I think I might have his latest build. Let me look real quick. I do not have it. I thought I saved it, but I don't see it. Is this it? No. I thought I had it, but I can't find it on this computer. Maybe I did it from the other computer. Sorry guys for the delay. I'm looking for a link for somebody in chat just to see if I have it. Wait, maybe this one's it. I have so much saved. Yeah, here you go. Here's J-Bone's last list that he linked in chat, so it's public. This is the last list that he linked us in chat. Alright, so anyway, back to the game. Sorry about that delay again. I think we need cards bad enough now that I'm actually going to cycle this cast out. I didn't really want to get rid of the cast out, but kind of in a dilemma there. He didn't have approach though, so that's actually very good for us. Yes, we'll put that one in the graveyard because we're just going to hard slam an approach next turn. And we're going to hope that he doesn't have Gearhulk. If he has Gearhulk, it's a bit of an issue, but he could not. Who knows? No problem. I have tremendous respect for J-Bone, so Like, if I was going to build a blue-black deck, I would start with that list or one of Nassif's lists. I also have tremendous respect for Jerry, but I think they were tuning their deck for a very specific field, and I don't think that's the same type of list you would play versus an open field. Like, I think they would make a lot of changes versus an open field. Like, they knew going into Worlds that Teamer was going to be a big deck, that Mono Red was going to be a big deck. So, like, they, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put that one in the graveyard because we get the land from Azcanta regardless when we put it in the graveyard. So we still have our land. And we're not going to cast the second approach right now. We are going to cast the second search, though, because, again, search is still just best card. So we put a land in our graveyard and we drew for our turn, so we know our next approach is 5 cards down, which is something relevant to remember, even though we have an approach in our hand. Because sometimes it takes casting 2 or 3 approaches to win. I also think I'm actually going to cast Glimmer instead of use the Azcanta this turn, because at this point I'm wanting card quality and I'm wanting lands more than I'm wanting spells. I want to get to a point though where we can like try to fight some kind of weird counterspell war if we have to. So this is kind of an interesting card. Whenever I cast Glimmer, he can just use that in response. Or when the Glimmer resolves, and make sure that we don't draw that approach back. But that's not the end of the world for us. But again, I'm using the Glimmer because I actually want to draw lands. I want to draw lands more than I want to draw spells. So we'll put the land on top, the spell on bottom. Actually, we could put the spell on top as well. But we're not going to. So we put 2 cards on top, 1 on bottom. We know approach is 2 cards down. Yeah, I'm on a very weird sleep schedule right now. Like, I'm a League of Legends fanatic, and League of Legends Worlds last week was coming on at 3 a.m. my time, going off at like 9 a.m. my time, and this week it's going to be midnight my time to like 6:30 a.m.-ish my time. So I've been in this very weird situation now where like I'm trying to adjust my schedule for that. Thank you for following Danielson. Danielson? Danielson. That sounds right. Put an island into our graveyard. Actually, going to put 1 into our graveyard. Always no to trigger, and no. So we want to at least be able to pay for 1 Supreme Will before we cast this approach. Our opponent also hit a second approach too, so we only have 2 approaches to try to resolve. Yeah, they're in China this year, so it's just been very awkward to try to keep any semblance of a schedule for the stream. I do try to stream every single day, though. Actually going to keep the Gideon because the Gideon makes it harder for him to win. I actually have been wanting to try that deck myself. I haven't got around to it yet, but I'm pretty interested in trying it. Farmland or graveyard? Sure. Alright, so right now, all we're doing is kind of like milling ourselves, waiting for our opponent to kill us. If we can somehow protect the Gideon, opponent actually can't kill us, but it's pretty hard to protect the Gideon. I'm probably going to start attacking with it, though, if it resolves. Really? I think Rune Raider. Oh, because they're kind of like nombos together. Yeah, I can get behind that. So we really can't protect this card. So the only things we can win with now are our rivulets, and he also has rivulets, so like that's not a consistent win condition, and our 2 approaches. So we're going to have to find a way to actually resolve an approach, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Yep, that's the second disallow. He could have the full 4. And unlike last turn, like I'm pretty fine with the lands, and the op can probably find me a land if I actually wanted it, so I'm not going to cast a Glimmer on that turn. Island into my graveyard? Sure. Well, if we had more deserts, like we'd have an actual kill condition. We're getting close to actually just casting this approach, though. In all fairness, we're probably casting this approach next turn. Actually, I think I probably want to pay for 2 Supreme Wills, don't I? He's already got 2 in his graveyard. Yeah, I think I'll wait till I can pay for 2 Supreme Wills before I play it. Oh, it's tapping mana. Oh. Well, that's kind of boring. That's kind of boring. We were having to think, and then opponent taps 7 mana. Two EI. Does anybody know what that means? I have no idea. Have no idea what opponent's saying. It's fine. Wow, we've been alive over 2 hours today. These 3 approach mirrors have just taken lots of time. Do not speak Martian. Oh, don't be rude. Like, just because he speaks a different language than English. Come on. Come on. Do you got it? It's a curse he laid out upon us. I think he just made a tap out. He made a typo. He said, "Do you got it?" That's what he was trying to type. To face off you in game 1. See for battle in game 2. Nah, it seems like he just made a typo. I mean, that's reasonable. I make tons of typos. I am like super redneck. Anyway, so I sideboard out most of the like kind of poopy white cards. It's reasonable to bring Caracols into this match, but I think Caracols are better on the play than to draw. I do keep a couple Fumigates in just to keep opponents honest that do have this card, but it is possible to win with this card. But I really just think Search for Azcanta is the real key here. Hey, Billy Goat Buff, welcome to the chat. I think it's the first I saw you. Let's see here. He said 2. D-O is absolutely nowhere near a T-O. No, I guess it is. The D's kind of close to the T. The X is nowhere near the Y. The E is nowhere near the Y. Alright, whatever. Doesn't matter. We won't think about it. This hand's absolutely miserable. Let's keep it because we have lands and we have answers to Search for Azcanta and search for we have answers for Search for Azcanta and Gideon. This hand's pretty weak. It's a pretty good deck. As long as the Peach Garden Teamer sideboard plan doesn't get popular, this deck's going to be very good then. We plan on cycling this one, so that's why I didn't play it that turn. I also want to represent like a negate or something, just maybe to make him have a pause if he draws a search for Azcanta. If he's anything like me, he would just slam to Azcanta on 3. Alright. Untap Scarini. Rip. Well, Scarab Guy's actually... Oh, Search for Azcanta. Wow, I cannot read tonight. Search for Azcanta is definitely my favorite card from the new set. In paper, I just write it down on a piece of paper. On Modo, you'll see me like type right here. When I put numbers right there, it means I'm counting for searches or counting for approaches. I like to put it on the screen so people can see it. Alright, so we hit a search. That's good. Just realized the opponent didn't even ultimate this. He just played it on 3 and like did nothing with it and then attacked on 4. It's just odd. Now, so I'm just going to play a Glimmer. I don't care if he counterspells the Glimmer. And if he doesn't counterspell the Glimmer, that's fine for us as well. But we're kind of using it as a bait spell, kind of hoping he'll tap 3 mana or whatever and try to kill it. Alright, well, we don't want either of these. We just want lands. You know what those aren't? Those aren't lands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have to discard? Am I really going to discard a Torrential Gearhulk? Nah, I'm going to discard a Supreme Will, probably. Maybe he'll like cast his own Glimmer and it'll give us a chance to play a cast out. Alright. Sweet, so we don't have to discard. Happy days. I do think the post-board matches are kind of interesting when both people get reasonable draws. If one person gets like a terrible draw and the other person gets a great draw, it's obviously not a very good match. I want to be able to get to Gearhulk this turn, potentially, so I'm going to go ahead and cycle. Seems like he'd pressed F6 there, but maybe he didn't. So it's his own Gearhulk, which is kind of unfortunate. It's kind of hoping to play our own Gearhulk. Alright, so what is the correct play for us now? Do we cycle this Censor or not? We know we're casting Gideon next turn, so I guess we just cast a Gideon. And pray to God that we hit the land. Nice, we hit the land. We'll go ahead and get our first emblem out. Yeah, my store's pretty much all Teamer right now, too. They have learned. I had an opponent once cast an approach when I had a Gideon emblem out. Oh, wow, so they have cats, too? That's kind of good here. I think I'm going to cast a cast out. Actually going to kill one of these and not the Regal Caracal itself because he could just have another cast out or something to get his Caracal back. So there's no way for him to kill this turn. So we're going to take the 1 turn off to cast Approach while we can. If he happens to have some way to kill the Gideon that I don't know about, we'll just shake his hand and not care. And if he casts a second Caracol, that would suck, but whatever. My opponent is Greek. Okay, cool. There's some really good Greek League of Legends players. And they're all toxic. They're like super toxic. Yeah, so we're going to try to resolve the Gearhulk this turn. And block. I do, yes. I don't know if it's right, but I always have. I think I'm going to counterspell this. I think the Gearhulk's good enough, and I wouldn't mind getting another counterspell out of his hand. Come on. League of Legends is great. League of Legends is my everything. By the way, hello, Giovas. I apologize if I pronounced that miserably. I am much redneck. I think I still want lands. Well, I didn't want 2 lands. Probably could have been greedy. To battle. Yeah, but they don't permaban. You can like literally just start a new account. So we have a Sensor if he has a Gearhulk. Nice. No Gearhulk for him. So it's like kind of playing this game where we're trying to protect this Gideon. At some point he's going to have like a cast out and then a negate and we'll probably lose. Yeah, so we're basically looking for our blue spells now. Put you on top, put you on bottom. Put you on Cycle Duty. Yeah, that's a blue spell. Fair enough. They don't permaban though. I like games that permaban. So this Sorcerer Camp is going to be just amazing for us here. We have a Jace's Defeat in case he has a Gearhulk. What we got there? Is it expensive to play this game? It's kind of different. Here, let me, it's... Right there's a place where you can go and look up card prices. Do you play in real life, or are you talking about Magic in general? Like, do you know what Magic the Gathering is and like what paper card prices is and things of that nature, or are you just asking about Magic in general? Because if you're asking about Magic in general, yeah, it's a pretty expensive hobby. Alright, now that we have double counterspell in our hand, I'm just going to slam this Gearhulk. It's kind of an expensive hobby. Like events cost $8 to play online every event. A lot of people like to play multiple. You have to buy cards, yeah. Um, if you're looking for a cheaper online card game to play, and you can play on both on like iPads and uh, you can play on both on like iPads and things of that, iPads, cell phones, and things of that. I would suggest the game Eternal or Hearthstone if you're looking purely for like cheaper games to play. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna go ahead and opt here so that we have the opportunity to flip that if we want. Because we're probably going to flip it no matter what this card is. Sensor to the graveyard, definitely. Definitely. And next turn, I think, is the turn that we're going to go for our approach. I've not personally played Hex. I've heard it's very good. Jeff Hooligan likes it, and he's a pretty intelligent person. Yeah, no. By the way, thanks for stopping by, Frank Verks or Verk. Welcome to the chat. Welcome, Orcos1. Appreciate it. Yeah, MTGO Arena will probably be a lot cheaper. Yeah, on Eternal though, if you want to put the time in, you can grind everything for free. Like I've not put a single dollar into Eternal. I've not spent 1 penny on Eternal. But if we're talking about pure fun, I've never found a card game I enjoy more than Magic. But Magic is expensive, like especially if you want to play older formats or if you just want to play like more than one deck, for example. Like some of the decks have overlapping cards and all of that, but like if you just go look at the deck snapshot, like these are online prices, right? Like it's $200 to play the red deck. You know, $230 to play Teamer Energy, $110 to play the deck I'm playing, $220 to play Sultai Energy. You know, like a lot of these decks have overlapping, but like it's a pretty big initial cost, and then the tournaments cost a lot of money as well, right? So um, like the tournament I'm playing in cost $8 to play. There's a pretty good chance that I'm just going to go for it this turn, but I may just attack and then go for it next turn as well, because when we have this many counter spells. Settled or Wreckage. I guess I can counterspell that. There is some free options, um, but I don't want to advertise the free options on an MTGO stream because like it's pretty frowned upon by the MTGO people. But keep that in mind. You might want to you could private message somebody in the chat, and they can probably tell you. Oh well, never mind. Somebody has already told you. Yeah, they are some free options if you just want to play the game. All right. Well, we're probably just attacking our opponent with everything, especially if we find another counter spell off this. Snap attacking our opponent with everything. It's different. It's different for different decks. It depends on how competitive the deck is and things of that nature. All right. So let's fire up this guy and attack for lethal, and we have just a fistful of counter spells. And if somehow we lose a counterspell war or don't win this turn or something, we can probably have enough mana to cast an approach. So he wants to use a cast out. We'll start with a negate. That's the negate that he just saw. We'll start with a Jace's defeat on this one, saving the negate in case he has another cast out. Alright, so we beat another blue-white player. Again, this guy had multiple disallows in his main deck, but just a little luck and tight play lets you beat these blue-white mirrors. Alright, so we've locked up a pity chest, which means we're opening a minimum of one chest tonight. Update our stats. We're now 43-11 with this build season, and we're now 6-0 in the mirror, 8-0 overall. Remember, if you guys like what you're seeing, please hit the follow button and kick out some follow. And there's links below the chat to both my Twitter, where you can find all the deck lists we play and every time we go live, and a link to my YouTube. On my YouTube, you can find all of our previous streams, and if you are watching from the YouTube, keep in mind that below the video in the description of every one of the videos on the YouTube, there's a link to the Twitter, the Twitch, and the deck list we're playing for the evening. So we'll go ahead and keep this. If you're in the chat, you can always type !deck list to see the chat at any time as well. Yeah, they are. If we go 3-2 Dumbo, we open it. If we go 4-1, we sell. Yeah, but there are some tournaments and stuff you can play on, like a Magic League client or something of that nature. So this is a fairly hard match post board, but it's a fairly easy match pre board. He already didn't have his best card, so that's kind of good for us. We also have a cast out for the first Anointer as well if one resolves. Anointed Procession, rather. I don't know why I said Anointer. Thank you for following, Billy Goat Buff. Appreciate it. Alright, so thank you for following Max Steel 2000. You just reminded me of one of my favorite previous streamers. So go ahead and cycle that. I think we can cycle this too, but it's probably okay to also keep it a turn so we have at least some out to Anointed Procession. Yeah, I think Magic Leagues were like PV and people got their start, right? That's an Evolving Wilds, so he's going to get a life point here. We don't care about how many ever life points he gets. The green mana means he's got Vraska very likely in his deck, but we need to just draw lands anyway, so we're not going to worry about a Vraska. I'm not keeping anything here that's not a land. So he's going to sack. How frequently can you change decks? It depends on what service you pay for. It's pretty easy to use them. You just build your deck on the client. Here, I can give you an example of like how you would use them. Like, well, hold on. Let me sign on to my account first. I can give you a quick example of how you use them. Sign in. Customize that. So once you've got your subscription, you just like go here and you click build a deck. And then you just like, say you want Scarab God. You like just go Scarab God, you click how many versions you want. When you're done, you click on whether you want to rent them or whatever. So it depends on what, anyway. So that's how, it's that simple, and then it'll tell you what bot to go to and pick them up. As for how expensive it is and stuff like that, it all depends on which plan you get. Like, they have multiple different plans, so you'd have to go look at the plans for yourself. This is a really nice website, though, and if anybody wants to use it, I can give you a referral code. Advertising, but yeah, check it out. It's pretty nice. Sometimes some cards are out of stock or whatever, but I've never ran into that. But I imagine it's something that you could run into semi-frequently, like when a brand new set gets released or whatever. But it's real easy to use. Half the age that I am now, wow. Alright, so we certainly just want lands. Lands and finding an approach at some point, somewhere over some rainbow. That's our goal right now. I use the $10 subscription because I have a fairly large Moto collection already, so I don't really need that many cards. But it helped, like I sold my Scarab Gods when they were 51 each, I think, the other day. I think I got like 46.3 out of them after the bot took their fee or whatever, so. I don't know. I have no idea about that. Like I said, I only have the $10 sub, so it's not really a thing I can answer. I'm sorry. I wish I had better information for you. That's a pretty good one. That's not. That's a pretty good one. But yeah, sorry that I can't answer that question. I really just don't know. So next turn we can cast an approach and gain some life, and the turn after that we can cast a fumigate. I could get 90 the first month. Well, that was a pretty good card for him. So you could be right, but I can get 90. This was my first month I could get 90. This is the first month I've tried it. So whatever this is, we're going to flip it because we want the guaranteed land. And we want the guaranteed ability to be able to use that next turn if we need to. Alright, so we go ahead and post a little 6 right here so we know where our next approach is. Yeah, it could have something to do with that. Like they could be checking your credit rating or something crazy. I really don't know. I apologize that I don't have a bit more information for you. They normally stream at about 10:30 Eastern, so that company itself might have better information. No, I think you can. I think you can actually set it. I think you can actually click on it and it tell you how much you could get, but I'm not sure. So we know our approach is 6 cards now, so that's 4, that's 5, 6, plus our draw step 7. Um, so I guess it's fine just not to do anything this turn. Could cast a Fumigate, but that doesn't seem like something I need to do. So they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, fine, we'll cast a Fumigate. Still win next turn either way. What do you think? Oh, by the way, hello Merlin. I don't know if I said hello. What do you think about Esper approach to Sir Ronnie? Did he post an Esper approach list? If so, I've not saw it, but I didn't know that he posted one. I've saw 2 different people playing Esper approach this weekend though, or sorry, today. So, like, there's a fairly reasonable chance that that's why I've saw it. I had no idea that that's why people were playing it. Yeah, so. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I punted so badly. Put that on the bottom, so that's 2 more cards, plus a card that we're drawing. 3 more cards. I have not saw it. That's what I was saying. Like, I've not saw it. I don't really know what they're talking about. But feel free to link it in chat for the guy who asked. So we were at 6. We drew a card for our turn, 2 for the opt, 1 for the cast out. So it's 2 cards down? Alright, well, if it's 2 cards down, I guess we won't go for it. Actually, we just have extra mana, right? We could just have 2 back to back. Yeah, so we just have 2 back to back. That's fine. Or I counted wrong when I was talking. Either one. Could be either one. Maybe I counted wrong, or maybe there's like one on top of our deck. Let's find out. Nope, I did not count wrong. So game 1, like I said, is extremely easy in those matches. It's game 2 and 3 that's so hard. You definitely bring in all of the negates. I believe that the Gearhulks are reasonable to bring in as well. I actually think the Caracals are fine to bring in. They could have Lost Legacy, and when they do have Lost Legacy, you need some kind of alternate kill condition. The Gideons and the Ephor Meltdowns are all very weak in the match. Shoot, sorry. The Farm and the Marcus are also equally weak, and then there's like 1 more card to take out. I never know what that last card to take out is. Probably on the draw, it's fine to cut a Censor, but I don't really know. I think we're just going to cut a Caracal. Call it a day. 3's probably enough to close the game. Alright, thank you for the link. I'll pop it up on stream so anybody on YouTube can see what we're talking about. Where's it at? So there's Grixis Control. So we're talking about this deck. Alright, so if you're on YouTube, you can like pause it and read it or whatever. And then I'll move it over here and look at it while we talk. This hand is rather weak. I think we're going to mulligan this hand. We have no way to interact with their powerful spells. Well, we have at least an approach and 1 way to interact with their powerful spells, so we'll keep this one. I don't really want to go to 5 either way. Have you looked at the Esper versions of tokens? Yes, that's what I actually plan on streaming tomorrow. And thank you for stopping by, Nerd Comia? Can't actually read that. Nerdcore Emma. I guess we'll put that on the bottom. Alright, so let's look at this list. He has 2 disallows, an Essence Scatter, 4 fatal pushes. So his black is for fatal pushes, 1 Scarab God, and out of the sideboard, 1 Vaughn. I do not think those cards are worth messing up your mana base for. I'll be posting a video of us playing Abzan tokens as soon as we get offline. It'll take a minute or 2 or 3 or 10 to upload or whatever, but as soon as we finish this league, we're going to play, or we're going to post that list. So, Duress here, he's probably going to take an approach unless he has Lost Legacies in his deck. It's kind of interesting. He took a cast out. So does that mean he's going to resolve something relevant next turn? I think I'm going to play the Plains either way. At least represent that we drew a counterspell. We're actually going to probably cycle this Censor as well. So it's kind of like a little weird, but like didn't use our mana super efficiently. The Esper list looks pretty good. There's another streamer who's on right now that I'll link you to if you want, that plays the Esper list quite a lot, has been tuning it, and is a pretty good player. It's actually the British national champion. So we're definitely going to snap counterspell that. Then we're going to go hit F6. She's not playing it right now, though. She's drafting. But, She plays the Esper list quite a lot, and there's another streamer called Conan Hawk, that's Eric Hawkins. He also plays it a lot. He usually logs on about this time of morning, but he's not on yet today. That's kind of interesting. I think we need to land bad enough to cycle. Rip. Among all the decks you have played, which deck do you feel is a solid choice for a big tournament like Nationals? I'm a level 1 thinker, and out of all of the decks that I've tried, I've not felt more comfortable with any deck than the Peach Garden Oath Teamer deck. That deck feels incredibly good to me. Like, I'm amazed by how good that deck feels. If I was going to my Nationals this weekend, that's what I'd be playing. Unfortunately, I can't go to my Nationals. It's a bit too big of a trip from where I live. Alright. Well, this isn't going particularly well, but so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. We're in bad shape now. So you can even kill this. I think sometimes you cycle multiple cards and you never get there. Land-wise. Pretty sure we're just dead at this point. And we missed another land. We're definitely dead now. Cub is pretty good versus Approach, but the reason Teamer's so good right now is they're using 4 Negate, a Supreme Will, a Glimmer, and 2 Torrential Gearhulks from the sideboard. He's kind of playing Marionette Master. It kind of makes me want to put a 1 Settled Wreckage in the deck just to be like, got ya, buddy. I don't know if that's good enough, but it feels like it could be good enough. I don't think I'm going to, though. I felt like a pretty big favorite with Teamer versus Ramunap. Alright, so this hand's very good. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a duress to get our Azcanta, because our Azcanta makes all the boys come to the yard. Nah, I've only played 1 league with the PGO Teamer deck, but it felt incredible. There's videos on the YouTube if anybody cares, but it felt incredible. Like, I was amazed by it. I was honest to God, a little taken back by how much I liked it. Hey there, Kill Boss. Killer Blast Law. What are you into? Yeah, negate alone's not enough. They need like 2 negates raw drawn in their top 15 to 20 cards. But when they have access to all of that, it's pretty ridiculous. We'll go ahead and put that one in the graveyard. We already have 1 counterspell in our hand, and we need to find an approach. And so now they're adding like 3 more hard counterspells and a Glimmer to the deck. Well, you're going to get rid of my negate regardless, so I would rather not let you see the rest of our hand. Thank you for the auto host, Chris. We appreciate it. That's kind of a good card. It's a good enough card that I'm pretty sure I'm just going to get that card. Don't think we're going to be casting many counterspells the rest of this game, so I'm just actively putting them in our graveyard while we're looking for our approach to try to win the game. A little aggressive to go after this card instead of like waiting for a procession, but island in the graveyard? You know, I think I'm going to. Yeah, I've been on this deck for a very long time. Thank you for the follow, man. I appreciate it. Yep, this game's starting to go real bad real fast. We're going to have to find some more cast outs pretty quickly. Because here we go. This card says they can pay 2 life to draw a card, and they can do it multiple times. So if we let them untap and like their hand was bad, they could just instantly draw a card. Or if they even went to their main phase, they could like play a land and instantly draw 2 cards. Like I didn't want them to get a single card out of it. Alright, so he's probably going to sack this. We'll see what he scries for. Then we'll censor first to look for a cast out. If we don't find a cast out, we'll obviously just Glimmer. That was a pretty good hit. That's fair, but I'm not really worried about his tokens beating me. I'm worried about him having a Loss of Legacy on time or having a discard spell on time. I don't really care what card this is. It's going to the graveyard. I want to flip the search. The search gives me a guaranteed land, and it gives us access to the Torrential Gearhulk now, which we have negates already in our graveyard. Never didn't have it. I mean, we do. We have 4 Fumigates, and like, if they don't have, do I care about that card? Feels to me like I kind of care about that card in this spot. Sure, they can buy it back next turn, but like, this makes their attack worse. I guess I don't care about it. That's fine. So I actually still want lands, so I'm actually going to play the Glimmer here instead of playing the other card. I believe I want both of those. So he has 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is worst case scenario for us? We know we're just casting an approach next turn, regardless, unless he like makes us discard it. So this is the only turn to really play the Regal Caracol. We could have held up the Gearhulk as well and like tried to negate something, but I'm going to want to try to block this turn. The only way that this seems like it's really bad for me is if he has exactly another Procession or exactly a Lost Legacy. Yeah, don't care if he does that. So he's going to get this thing back probably. And that's a little bit frightening, but like he doesn't have a good attack this turn. He had to have a land and a Vraska. I was talking about 1-card combinations. So we're not in the greatest shape anymore. We went from being really far ahead to being really far behind. I wasn't thinking about him sideboarding that card in. I think I'm just going to cast the approach here. I think our best chance is just drawing another approach before he wins. He still doesn't have the greatest attacks. Yeah, he only had 1 card in his hand, sorry. I don't like how I've played this game, though. He tapped the Dunes, which was pretty good for us. Like, I was a little worried about him just using Dunes that turn. But the problem was I was going to block. So if I'm going to block, it's better to play the other guy, right? Because whatever he's going to play post-combat. Sure. Or just don't block. That's fair. It's kind of interesting now. I can use this card, and any cycler would get me to winning the game next turn. while still having tons of things that can block. Yeah, I think we just pass here. Play for the win. Yeah, the art is really good. By the way, thanks for stopping by, Real. I think it's the first time I've saw you in chat. So he put on bottom again. The longer and longer he puts on bottom, the better and better for us. So you're gonna do here, cast a Vraska. Sure. So he's tapped out. We're going to go ahead and use this first. And if we hit a cycler, we'll just cycle and win the game. If we don't hit a cycler, we're going to negate it. So anyway, we know the top card of our library after our draw step is an approach. So opponent gives up. Yeah, he knows we have the Fumigate, so I guess he doesn't have Lost Legacy in his deck. Because if he had Lost Legacy, he wasn't dead, right? Alright, so update our stats. 44. Abzan tokens. Where are you at, Abzan tokens? Oh, that's the first time playing versus Abzan tokens. I thought Abzan tokens was a more popular match than that. So yeah, I guess opponent just didn't have Lost Legacy in his deck. Because we knew the approach was 2 cards down. Hey, Spirit Chiller, welcome back. So that was a nice little 4-1 on the night. We beat, for a small recap, we beat Abzan tokens, we beat 3 mirrors, and we lost to the Megaphone Black-Red deck. We did punt game 1 pretty badly. Like, game 1 was a winnable game. And we punted it pretty badly. I'll go ahead and show my play mistake to everybody. I wasn't paying attention to my life total. I was like talking in chat and stuff, and I thought I had 9 points of life, but I didn't realize the Fumigate gave me a 10th point of life. But I had 1 more draw step, basically. Anyway, Moto's not going to let us draw it, so we will never know. Anyway, so we're going to open 1 chest. If we get more than the price of the chest, we'll open another, as always. If not, we're selling the 3. Rip, we got smashed. We did not get close to the value of a chest. So we're just going to sell the other 3. Selling them makes it easier to keep playing more Magic. Anyway, I want to thank you guys all for coming out tonight. We had quite a few new followers tonight. We had like 10 or so. I'm gonna look for somebody to host real quick. Does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to see from the chat before we go? Or not from the chat. I mean, anything you'd like to see from the stream. Like any suggestions or anything that you're wanting to watch. And we'll try to find a standard player while we do that. Not playing standard, not playing standard. Just nobody I watch is playing standard. Alright. So let's go try to host somebody that I don't watch then. Wow, nobody's playing standard today. No wonder we have 81 people watching us. Ah, here's somebody playing blue-black control. That's close to what we watch, right? Or that's close to what we're playing. Close, not close. Thanks, Gio. I appreciate it, man. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow we'll probably play Esper Tokens. Obviously, Blue-White Approach is my favorite deck in Standard, and I like playing it as much as we possibly can, but I don't like playing it every single day because I think people get bored of it or whatever. So I'm gonna hop off here. Follow if you enjoyed the stream, and remember there's links to both my Twitter and my YouTube down below. And I have never watched a person that I'm getting ready to link, but they were the only person I saw playing Standard, so They are who I'm going to host, and I'm going to go get some food and probably play some League of Legends, to be honest. Just here to find a deck for Nationals. You make me feel like Blue White Approach is a great deck to pilot in Nationals. Blue White Approach is a pretty good deck. Like, it beats the World's Blue Black deck, in my opinion. Jerry told me I'm wrong, but whatever. Um, David C. told me I'm wrong too. They're tons better players than me, or they're both infinitely a better player than me, and they both tell me I'm wrong. But like, Nassif tells me I'm wrong as well. So basically, everybody I've talked to tells me I'm wrong, but like we've done pretty good with it. This is our stats on the season. I don't know how to use a spreadsheet, so I can't give you like game 1 and 2 percentages. Um, yeah, no, I buy cards with them. I basically only buy cards with them. I don't draft or anything, so um, that's all. That's all been got since Ixalan came out as well. We had no tickets before Ixalan come out. So like, this is our current stats of the deck. I feel like the mono red match and the blue or the black, the red black aggro match. I feel like those are like, based on our stats, we're 8-5 versus them, but I do not feel favorited versus that deck. And based on our stats, we're also, if you look at the teamer list, we're 6-2 versus it. But this was prior to the Peach Garden Oath sideboard plan, and then the Peach Garden Oath sideboard plan has. Let's click on his list real quick. Sorry, this is not his list. What list is that? This is their list. Sorry. Um, their sideboard plan involves all of these blue spells and this Chandra, and I really just, if this is going to become the normal, I don't think we'll be able to beat Teamer post board anymore. So if we have a weak match versus Teamer and we have a weak match versus Red, that it's probably not. That being said, I'm not a great player. I would look for other people to advise before I'd listen to me. But if I was going to my nationals, I would probably play close to this 75. I would probably be playing at least 70 of this 75. This deck felt incredibly powerful. If you go to my YouTube chat, which there's a link down below, I have a video up of us running this deck for a league. So I don't know if that gives you, but it felt incredibly powerful the entire time. Even the cards that like most people find awkward, like commit to memory and stuff, like this card won me 2 games. Like, it was just ridiculously good. Every card in the deck performed. The only bad thing about this is, yeah, we definitely buy a lot of cards. The only bad thing about this deck is there's going to be a lot of mirrors, and I think the mirrors can be a little bit more luck-based than I like. There's definitely a lot of play to them as well, especially when it comes to sideboarding, but that's going to probably be the most popular deck at the top tables. Red-green is a best no, I think. This is the best now, I think. Yeah. This has just been the deck that's impressed me the most. This is the deck that I would play off stream. Red deck wins is pretty good. Teamer Pummeler is actually very good versus. Red Green Pummeler is actually very good versus Teamer, but like it's very bad versus red deck wins. I've not found a token list that I like versus the field so far. I found them that I like versus certain decks. Like this deck ran pretty well for us. I think we're 16-8 with it, but it's got like some really weird cards in it. We played this deck on stream last night. Where are you at? Abzan tokens, junk tokens. This deck felt pretty good. We're going to play Esper tokens tomorrow, but like when dealing with all of these life gain triggers and making all of these tokens and stuff like that, I'm not sure that these matches actually end in a paper time limit, especially mirror matches. So like I'd probably avoid playing this deck in paper just for that particular reason. By the way, thanks for stopping by, Robert. Good to see you. Thank you for following, Geo. But yeah, Teamer, for me personally, I'd probably play Blue-White Approach if I wasn't playing Teamer, but that's because I've played hundreds of matches with Blue-White Approach right now, and I'm fairly comfortable with it. When I'm not on stream and like I'm not talking to people, I feel very comfortable with it. I know I make some pretty loose plays on stream, but honestly, when you're looking at two different monitors and you're like talking to chat and you're like uh, keeping up with the stream stuff over here and paying attention to how many frames I'm dropping and stuff, it's pretty easy to lose focus. So like if this deck's giving me these kind of results when I'm streaming, I would think it's pretty good when I'm not streaming, but I just really don't like the red match, and I really don't like the match versus Peach Garden Oath, and that's probably enough to get me to not play this deck. Also, like the J-Bone Capone blue-black deck that we linked earlier in chat, it probably crushes this deck too. That's fair. I do not think the Teamer deck's good. I think the Tokens deck is very weak to flyers. I think that if the Teamer player is smart enough to keep, in like the Peach Garden Oath deck, they even have like these gear hooks and the gates and stuff sideboard, and they have the appetites, so they can actually even deal with one that resolves. When we played Black White Tokens, like we only got paired versus Teamer Energy 3 times, and we did kind of well versus it, but like it didn't feel very good, and we didn't play versus it any last night. When we played the Abzan build last night, we just didn't play versus it any. The mono red match still felt kind of horrible. But anyway, we'll probably play Esper Tokens tomorrow. I want to thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for the new follows, and I'm going to host this guy. I apologize if his stream's not good. I've never watched him before, but all of the people I normally watch are playing Draft or Vintage right now, so I always like to host a Standard player if possible, because Standard's all we play on our stream. Well, that's not true. We play some Commander occasionally. The Commander Challenge is just such good value that we do play it. Anyway, take care, everybody, and thanks for stopping by. This stream went very long today, 3 hours. Oh, and if anybody cares, if you've not left yet, which over 30 people have left, by the way, I'm getting ready to post the Abzan Token videos on YouTube. If anybody wants to go watch those, the mirror match was particularly entertaining, I think. Anyway, take care, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow as always, same time probably.